Don't nobody else make me feel like. Don't nobody else make me feel like. Yeah. Don't nobody else make me feel like. Don't nobody else make me feel like. Don't nobody else make me feel like. So don't nobody else make me feel like. Yeah. Don't nobody else make me feel like. Don't nobody else make me feel like. So don't nobody else make me feel like. Yeah. Don't nobody else make me feel like. Ooh. Don't nobody else make me feel like. Ooh. Don't nobody else make me feel like. So don't nobody else make me feel like. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Becs. Thanks for coming to the show.
Oh, thanks, Mark. It's great to be here. Great to be one of your first guests as well.
And it's great to, obviously, we know each other, and I'm very grateful for you taking the time out to share your experience and your wisdom.
Well, you're more than welcome to that wisdom, but yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure you're full of wisdom. You've given me many wise words any time I've known you. So.
I'm full of something, Mark. I don't know what, but I'm full of something.
Yeah, I'm sure I've been referred to like that a few times. But I suppose really, Bex, obviously, I suppose it's important to say that you're a professional working medium.
Yes, I am.
Which is one of the reasons that I've got to know you and a few mutual friends, and one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on the show. And I suppose really the starting point is to sort of ask to talk about your life a little bit and what's got you to this point so far.
Oh, where do you want me to start? I mean, I could talk for hours, Mark. What do you want to know? Where do you want to start?
I suppose I want to start with like, who is Bex, and where at some point in the past where you feel is relevant to talk about.
I like that. Look, let's start where I am right now because
Yep.
we're all on a journey. And the first thing I want to say is we talk about mediumship, and what often is banded about is who's the best medium, who's the best this, who's the best that. And it's the wrong language. For me, mediums become complete. And that by complete, I mean who they become the most complete version of themselves, the most authentic version of themselves. Then once they've done their healing and they've done their work, they become. I don't so much like the word when we talk about mediums channeling. We can channel spirit, but mediumship is about the purity. It's about being in that place of surrender, so you can represent spirit. So where I am right now, I can't say I am complete, but I am complete as I can be today with all the work that I've done on myself on the healing work. So I suppose the most obvious thing is being trans, but I don't view myself as trans. I don't view myself as non-binary. I don't view myself as gay. By what I've found, especially over the last couple of years, is I've aligned my divine masculine and my divine feminine. So we're all divine beings, but my alignment is that pure nothing but everything. So
Yeah.
that divine masculine, divine feminine is how I define myself. And the healing I've done, and it is over the last 2 years, I've worked with some very special people who've helped me understand that it wasn't about letting the old version of me go. It's about honoring, owning, integrating all the different versions of John into the person I am now. So I become a complete person. And that's why I think for me, where my mediumship is, the more you are complete, the more what you've done yourself, the more you come without expectations of yourself, the more you come without thinking, am I good enough? Am I? And you just are. So that's where I am now. And that's where my mediumship is. So my mediumship is, so what it does when you become complete, you find your own unique mediumship. So my mediumship is gone, and I say this with so much respect to every working medium, but whether they dem once every 6 months or they dem like me 4 or 5 nights a week. For me, it's about when you own your authenticity, your medium becomes authentic to you. And and you're not. I'm blessed. I'm not governed by any dogma of how I should or shouldn't do my mediumship. For me, once I create that evidential profile, off I go. And for me, my music has taken on more and more of a deeper healing element. You create that evidential profile. You can't say I've got someone who loves you and they want you to heal. You've got to make sure you know who you've got, where you're at for that recipient, and then spirit know their job. The job of the means to get out of the way so they can. So the job of the means to get out of the way so they can do their job. So that's where I am. But where I started from, of just as John the bodybuilder, wanting to be a medium but getting nothing, sitting in circle, getting fuck all. Sorry, I swear, getting fuck all was my starting point. Well, that was my starting point from John into Becs into who I am now. This aligned being, and it's for me when it really started, when I started to work at my own physical and emotional transition, did the right tutors come along. So it's a journey. Mediumship, you must know, Mark, it's a journey. You're not the medium you were a year ago. You're not the medium and if you are, you're not healing, you're not growing. You can see mediums, and you can see some wonderful mediums who are doing the same mediumship they were doing 20 years ago. Well, spirit have changed. But if you haven't grown, if you're still in the same mediumship you were doing 20 years ago, you haven't grown, you haven't healed.
Because one thing for sure, sorry to interrupt you, is life is constant, isn't it? And change is constant. And we've had conversations between the two of us about doing the inner work, and I believe that's ongoing. There's no end goal, but one thing I've noticed, and it's beautiful how you've put it, is the more work I do, the deeper and the more layers and the more pure I feel that energy when I work with it.
And it has to be, because a silly example, if you have a dreadful relationship with your mother and it never got healed, you never did the inner work on it, you never did maybe the inner child work on it, that will come into your mediumship because you're already blinkered, blocked, restricted, whatever you want to call it, by working with a mum in spirit, because you come with your own boundaries, you come with your own wounding. And the more we clear our own stuff, the more we can have and if you get a mum who wasn't very nice, you get a mum who was toxic, you're not in the way of it. You can help facilitate that healing between the mother and the child.
It's funny though, it's almost like you've got to have these experiences, because like we both believe, I know this, that to be of service and to be a healer or a medium, I mean, it's all healing anyway, you have to experience or be able to understand different people's life experiences. So you have to go through those. But it's almost like we have to have these experiences and then we have to work through them to create the space. So we have the reference point within us now.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I remember one of my little sayings is the most empathic, not the best, the most empathic mediums have had the toughest lives.
Yes, definitely.
And for me, it was a quote by my mentor, a guy called Eamon Downey, he said to me once, he said, it was in a class, he said, all your emotional trauma and the physical pain you've gone through become your spiritual strength.
Yeah, 100%.
And that is it. It's a journey. I get very frustrated by TikTok and these people that they go on a couple of courses, they train for a year or two, and they think they're fucking mediums. They're not. Or those that they den once a month, they den once every 8 weeks. Great. How can their mediumship evolve if you're not doing it? You have to be doing it to evolve. And also with your own inner work. I mean, you know me really well. You know I've done an awful lot of work with sacred plant medicines. I've done a lot of work sitting with grandmother ayahuasca. I've done a lot sitting with the sacred toad buffo. And that changes who you are. And as you change, so does your mediumship.
Well, as well as I do, we've sat in many demonstrations in our development and watched many mediums. And it shows, I mean, evidence is great. And I believe it plays an important part sometimes for the healing, because that's what we do this for, really. But it's the difference between it being evidential or actually feeling that person with you, like feeling the loved one in the room.
I have a little byline that says it's not just the message, it's the feeling. And of course, the evidential profile is critical, it's pivotal, but it's, I've seen amazing mediumship. I've seen it on platform, 10, 12 minutes of pure, lovely evidence, amazing evidence sometimes, 10, 12 minutes. And they go, I leave their love with you. Well, what the friggin' hell did they want? It's like it's like me ringing you up and saying, I spend 10 minutes proving to you it's Becs. Once you've got, and for me, it's 15, 20% of the reading, that first bit, it's your dad, last night, Brian, and it's your granddad. And just, once you've got that, and you've gone direct to someone, or maybe it's them. Once you know it's that person's granddad, whatever it might be, that person knows without any doubt you're in the right. And that also comes down to the confidence of working. and I will go around 6, 7, 8 people putting their hands up. I go, no, it's not you, not you, not you. I don't care what I look like. We've seen lots of memes. They'll stay with the first person that puts their hand up. Great if they think they're there, but we know they're not. It's just sometimes that their insecurity, and again, the work on themselves, their lack of confidence, their lack of experience, whatever it might be. First, they go, oh, so I put their hand up, I'll stay there. No, but that's not their medium's fault. That's where they're at.
Yeah, it's a journey, isn't it? Again, I mean, to be of service in any way is a good thing, but there's a difference, like
and once we've got that evidence of profile, my job is to get out of the way so they can do their job. They know their job. They know that recipient. They know that. They know where the healing is needed. Our job is to get out of the way so they can do the freaking healing. Let them do it. We're just the mouthpiece. We're vital with the mobile phone.
Yeah, but they just want to know. Like we again, I'll go back to this, but it's about, and again, we've both sat in audiences like this. For me, the magic moment is when everybody in the room is connected to that message. And as well as I do, spirit can connect it to many people all at once, even though it's directed at one person. But it's about being part of it as a community, as a group, and supporting the healing in the room from everybody.
Yeah, we've all seen amazing mediumship where the medium's with one person, but they've lost the container. They've lost the container because they're just doing everything. They're not. No one else is feeling it. My role when I work is to create that container, to create that energetic field, which is what we're all going to sit in, that place of memory and love. And what's happening now more and more with me in my work is I started saying to the audience or the congregation, whatever you want to call it, is that if I'm with someone else and you're feeling your mum, what your mum is doing, she's using my energetic field to amplify her connection with you. So why is she doing it? So you can feel your mum, have that feeling. In that moment, you've got the connection with your mum in that silence. You don't need me. So when you go home and you sit down and you have that same feeling, it's your mum.
100%. And again,
so there's the mediumship for everybody in the venue.
Yep.
4 or 5 people, and this is something that I'm exploring now. This is really new. No one I know is doing this. I can say, right, I'm working with one person. That's my mobile phone. But there might be 4 or 5 of you feeling your dad, or I'm working with someone's dad. Feel it in the silence, because they're using my field, and they're amplifying that to connect with you. You don't need me, because when you go home, you can have that feeling. And then I always say to people, whenever I start my work, because everyone says, they won't talk to me. They can't talk to you. No one can talk to spirit. They've not got a voice box. Can't talk to them.
Yeah.
So it's in the silence. And a lot of my work, you see me work, a lot of my work is if I've got something, I'll say, just be quiet, feel your mum. We've got that. It's your mum. Last night, I remember because it was last night, there was a nan called Doreen, and she went to her family, and we knew. But one of the granddaughters was really suffering. I looked, I said, feel your nan. The way she used to look at you, and this woman, she's owned her own energetic field. She's owned her own aura. Her own. So we've proved that it's her nan.
Yep. Now
she can feel her.
Yeah, and that's the magic.
Yeah, that's it. It's in the silence. That the healing, the conversation can be in the silence.
Some of the best things I've seen. Sorry, Becs, and I've seen you do it, and I've been a part of it myself, and I've witnessed it because we're both in this world too. Is quite often, especially for me, I think at the beginning of my journey, I felt like I had to provide all this stuff. And I've realised over time that actually some of the most healing moments have been when I've hardly said anything at all. It's about feeling that person come in, and that's the magic. It can be some of the simplest things like, you used to carry a bucket in the garden with your granddad, and then next thing you know, boom, it drops in.
And then there'll be something else that will come with it. Why, for me, obviously the evidential profile is critical, is vital, is pivotal. That's the most important thing we do first. But for me, every reunion is multi-layered, it's multifaceted. So if the granddad in your case is showing the bucket in the garden, where does it go from there? Do you remember when we used to go there and the time? And for me, sometimes they will not recreate, but they will revisit a memory. Why? Because what they sometimes do is, if someone's had a dreadful time witnessing someone they love pass, that loved one will say, we want to get away from that Groundhog Day moment. We want to get away from Here's the memory we want you to focus. And you can't stop the memory, but you can work at the attachment to that, the power you give it. And then suddenly what they've done is switch the power to the memory of in the garden with the bucket and spade, whatever it might be.
Exactly.
Again, intelligent spirits. I keep saying this. Spirit are the ultimate intelligence, and we're part of it. So we've got to be part of every reunion.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's beautiful, and absolutely agree with it 100%. It's as you were talking then about the healing and about doing the work. It was about, I think for me, because what I've seen in this world, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, is that we've got so many people out there that are not doing this work, and this work does come with a responsibility. You know, like you're dealing with people's that are very vulnerable in certain points, and some of these situations you deal with as a medium are very tricky, or can be very tricky.
Sure.
And we trust in that love and that knowing that we have. But you know, I think this is why it's so vital to do that work and go within to do all this work.
When I teach, if I've got a group of beginners or intermediates or any students for the first time, and anyone watching this can try it, I always say to the first thing I talk about responsibility, because I always say, if you're working from a place of honesty and integrity, Spirit will love you. They never judge. But this is what I do. I get them to hold out their hand, put the palm up and say, okay, there's your palm. I get them to close their eyes. And I say, I want you to imagine, I want you to pretend Spirit are dropping into the palm of your hand. And that spirit person, everything they ever were, everything they are, everything they're ever going to become, their essence, their love, their feelings, everything, their soul, everything about them is in the palm of your hand. What are you going to do with it? They are trusting us in a reunion with someone they love, or somewhere the relationship needed healing, whatever that reunion may be, however they want to facilitate it, however they want to expand into it, they are trusting us with their very existence.
Yeah.
They won't give a shit if we get it wrong, if we're doing it from the place of honesty and humbleness.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't enjoy it. I always say my happy place in life is platform. My happy place in life is when I'm in front of people. So you have to have an ego, but you don't need to be egotistical. And we've all seen mediums who it's about them, or on TikTok. It's like, no. You know, I get very frustrated about some of the mediums out there by supposed mediums, because they're trying to promote themselves, and it's like they've got no experience. And I'm not saying they're not doing it from the right place. Some of them are, I'm sure, but it's like doing it if you haven't got the experience of you. Remember, I always say, mediumship is easy. It's a natural phenomenon. Everyone's a medium.
Yep.
I don't buy into it's a special gift. I'm not saying there are those that can just do that and then the zone. I'm not saying that. I'm not. We can talk about it in a minute. For me, preparation is key with my mediumship. But everyone can learn to get out of the way. But it's the responsibility that it comes with. And some of the stuff I don't do TikTok anymore, because I got so frustrated when I saw some lady asked this guy on TikTok, is my baby going to be watching over me? And he went, no, he's already been reincarnated. No, he hasn't. Absolute bullshit. All there is love. The universe is love. One song. If it doesn't line up with love, it ain't right. It can't be right. So all there is love. The love is a focus. Love is a power. Love is whatever you want to call it. That's all there frigging is.
Well, love is creation. Everything we see, everything we look at is been created through love.
The universe, one song.
You know? Done. And I get it, because unfortunately in this day and age, obviously we both know how modern prophecy and seership and all this has been around since the beginning of time, but modern mediumship has become more about entertainment. And I think that's a sad thing, you know.
I have a little saying. I always say, I want to be entertaining, but it's not cheap entertainment. Every time I work, it doesn't matter if it's a church, a charity, a theatre, whatever it might be, it's still a form of a show, but it is never, ever show business. I want everyone, every time I work, I want them to feel it. I want them to have laughed. I want them to feel part of it. I want them to feel entertained, because but it's not a cheap entertainment. It's making everyone feel part of that container. Everyone feeling part of a community. Everyone going home going, I had some lovely messages from last night. It wasn't a busy night last night. I had about 40 odd people, but it was lovely. And some people went with Becs. I've never seen anything like it, because I felt part of the night. And that's where and that's where we get community healing. That's where the healing goes out from there. There's a thread that goes through it. That healing, that love then goes out to everybody.
Exactly.
And that's our job.
You work. I watched you work recently in Essex, and you're very unique in the way you're doing it. And I love the way you do it, because I know that now the focus for spirit is healing. It's not about physical mediumship or all the different aspects that there are to mediumship. The main focus at the minute is healing, because the world needs healing. It's saturated with emotion from my perspective, and we need to process that, which is why a lot of us are here now, processing this collective emotion.
And also, if you think 30, 40 years ago, people weren't open to therapy or inner child work or wounding or pain. They just got on with it. So if someone couldn't love, they just couldn't love. If a parent was cruel, no one wondered why that parent was cruel. They just were. Well, now spirit can come through and say, this is where I was at. I couldn't love this way. And within that, the next generation, our generation and below, are going, yeah, I get that now. And they can forgive. And it happened last night with someone's mum. And I said to this woman, you've got a better relationship with your mum now she's in spirit than you ever had when she was here. And she went, yeah, exactly that. And that's where the healing is, because that generation above us and the generations above us, our parents, they didn't have therapy. They didn't have sacred plant medicine. They didn't have counselling. They didn't have chance to do shadow work. And I don't mean dark demons. I just mean their own shadow work.
Yeah.
They didn't do it. They just carried on. It's like, if you go back to my grandparents' generation, they came out of wars. My parents, didn't know, they didn't know about this stuff, but we do. So when we talk about, the Christ consciousness about heaven on earth, we're talking about creating that. So we're living our soul path on earth. That's how we create heaven on earth.
Exactly. Yep. And I think it's, for me, sort of, I've sort of forgot my point as you were talking, because I was listening to what you were saying. But it's back to the generational cycles and stuff. For me, and my understanding of where I'm at right now is it's generational abuse that's repeated itself in cycles. And even in my own story, of my own life, this lifetime, there's been cycles and patterns, which is what this healing's about. But they've come from the past. And it's about an illusion of separation from love, because really a lot of people are insecure. We're all projecting onto each other, but it's because we are not looking in the right place for that love.
We had the feeling we're not enough. We had the feeling that we had the fear of abandonment. We had the fear of not being chosen. We had the fear of getting too close and getting hurt. And that's all programming. And we come with our own insecurities. And again, it's not like what I've done something called ayahuasca. I've sat with grandmother ayahuasca, and someone think, "Oh, I'll take the medicine, I'll be fine." No, it opens a door for you to then do the integration. It opens a door for you to do more work. So if you're doing therapy, it opens the door to more work. It's not one quick pill cures it. That the trouble with today's society is not a trouble. The thing with today's society is that everyone wants everything now. I want to be a medium now. I want to be better now. I want to be this. It's a journey. I mean, I've been working through something lately, and every time I've sat with grandmother, someone just told me one word: patience.
Yeah.
Patience.
Yeah.
And this last 18 months, she has so kicked my ass, and I've found a patience in me that I've never had. Got it now. I've had one of the lessons in what's going on in my life is I've had to learn patience, but that's part of my journey.
It's probably one of the hardest lessons to learn, isn't it? It's funny. I remember like 11 years ago, roughly, when I first walked into a church, and a friend of mine introduced me to a medium who was in her 80s or 90s. And she said, "Oh, this is Mark, and he wants to be a medium." And I'll never forget this. She turned around, she looked me up and down, and she said, "Good luck." And then she turned away and walked off. And I had no idea at the time what she meant. But
and this is the thing, I won't say who it was, but I remember when I was first studying. And I went on a course, and I was very lucky to go with a matriarch. Actually, I'll talk about it in a minute, because we got to love each other a lot in the end. But this older lady, I went on a weekend course with this matriarch, and I was one of the few that managed to get a private sitting with her as well, over the weekend. So I sat with her, all excited. She looked at me and said, "You'll never be a medium You might become a healer, but you're never going to make a medium. I went, okay. I went home and cried. But wind the clock for about 8-9 years, and I went on. She had a program that I was on. I was invited to go on it with her. And I went on it, and she went. And the clerk, this particular group of people weren't the nicest. Right. And something was said about where I work, and she looked at the class and she said, Becs works in places I wouldn't even walk into. So there was her shift. I think what it is, what I think mediums look for, and I get it now as a teacher, we're looking for commitment.
Yeah.
Because this is not an easy path. It's a lonely path.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm not saying, I live for this work, I've got some amazing friends, got 1 or 2 incredibly close friends. But you drive to a dem, you're on your own, usually. You do your dem, and I'm surrounded by people. I hug, I love, but I live on my own. That's my choice, So yeah. I'm not going to pour me lonely, but it can be quite, and it's you've got to dedicate yourself to it. And I know you've got an amazing partner who also does the work. That if you have a partner in this work and you're going to commit to it, you've got to have a partner who understands.
100%. Especially as a teacher as well. I think it's one level to work on yourself and be a medium and be able to do that for your work. For me, it's something that I was also told as well many moons ago. The pathway of the teacher is probably the hardest because you've got to be able to do all of that and more to be able to.
I think teaching. When we start teaching mediumship, I think comes with a huge responsibility. Again, like anything, you can see people. They've got 5 minutes of mediumship and they're saying they're a teacher, they're doing mentorship programs. You think can't even, I get frustrated because I see people teach and I think, how often do you dem? Where do you dem? What is your experience of demming? Oh, I dem in a church. What else have you done? Oh, I dem in a church once a week. So what can you teach? You can teach demming once a week in a church. And I'm not being disrespectful. I'd say someone's, I'm not blowing much up, but where I work 4 or 5 times a week. So I know what my mediumship is about. That's not making me good, bad, or different. It just means my experience is that. Again, it's like I used to teach motorcycling a lifetime ago. In fact, better example, I used to teach karate, and you see people get a black belt and think they're going to have a karate school. They spent 4 years getting a black belt. That's it. The black belt was literally just it's the start of your learning. Same with mediumship. When you've done 2 or 3, 4 years, that's just the start of learning about you.
Well, it's funny as well because it's multi-layered, as you said before, and also it's one of the things, again, I was told at the beginning, most things in life we learn and then we can go out and do it. We can perfect it or we can get a very good understanding before we do it. With mediumship, it's the other way around. The only way you're ever going to learn is to get out there and do it and learn learn the hard way. If you haven't worked, I did a venue once for a charity night. It was a working men's club in a dock town. The carpet was sticky. The manager was taking the piss until his dad came and he started crying. And I'm not saying, look at me, I'm not saying that, that is where your experience comes in of working with people. And I do a lot of I love doing I love doing charities. In fact, that was the foundation of how I got out there working. Because if you do a charity night, I would say, when I first started doing charity nights, I would say, right, let's do a charity night. Let everyone know I'm a developing medium. I'm developing. I'd get up in front of everyone and say, look, we've come out for a charity night. We've raised £400. I'm just getting going. I could be shit, but I've got a chance to practice. You've raised money. So it would take away any stress, any pressure on me. And these even charities now, if I do it, I've got one tomorrow night and it's for a friend of mine, so it'll be fun. But a lot of charity nights, you go there and people, they've come along to support the charity. They think mediumship is shit. You think you're going to, and they go like, go on then, show me. But if you haven't got the experience to deal with that energy, it can destroy your mediumship. In an instant.
I had a guy years ago. I did a church, a school, and it was a busy night, 140 people for this school. So at the end of the night, this guy came up to me and said, "Can I have a word?" I went, "Yeah, you want to? I'll talk to you, mate." I went, "Okay, mate, fair enough." He said, he looked at me and said, "I came tonight to expose you. It's all shit, this stuff." He said, "But you came to me first with my dad." So he changed. We don't. Our job is not to convert anyone. Our job is not. We're not not to convert anyone. Not evangelical. Our job is to say, I hope you have more questions than answers. But what I'm getting to is, if you're a developing medium or a medium, it's the one profession where you are in the public eye in front of people, where people will come to destroy you. People will come to see you fail. People will come to see your shit. People will come to see through you, because it's what it is. There was a very well-known medium called Colin Fry. I knew him really well for 9 months. I knew him for 9 months, got to know him really well for 9 months. And he said, basically, he said, I was chatting about this, and he said, well, it's a numbers game. I said, what do you mean? Does it mean money? Well, he said, if you've got an audience of 500, right? I worked with him once with 500 people, and it was like, he said, you've got 100 people, maybe 100 people that like me, love my work, know Colin, love stuff. You've maybe got another 200 people that know of me, love mediumship, that come to see what the night's about. He said, you've maybe got another 100 like this. He said, but I guarantee you've got 50 people at least 10%, who have come because they think it's crap. They want to see you fail. There's nothing like that. No one would go to, try and think of a pop star, Robbie Williams concert to see him be shit. You might get some gentleman say, oh, he's not really on my music, but you wouldn't pay to see Colin Fry to see him be rubbish. You wouldn't go there and say, well, I'm going to see he can't sing. Or you've got a favourite comedian. You wouldn't go to a comedian you don't like. You wouldn't go to a play, but they do that. And that's where I'm coming back to. And again, it's not poor me. It's just the way it is. If you haven't done the work on yourself and you haven't got the confidence and you've got someone, the energy, well, mediums don't get taught this about there's going to be this negative energy coming this way. Forget the no's. Forget that someone going, no, I can't say that. No. It can destroy mediums because they're not ready for it yet. And I've seen it happen.
Yeah. Yep. I've experienced it myself. I think I think like you said, that's what's so important about the work. Listen, you go out there and you do what you do. And we put ourselves as mediums on the line. It's one of the I can't even call it a job because it isn't a job. It's a passion.
Job.
You put yourself out in front of people and vulnerable, and you have to trust in that link and that connection that you've got, which is why I think it's so important to work and build and sit with that energy, because you know you're going to get people like that, and we know it's their insecurity, and we can look at all the different levels and the cycles, or go back into their energy and see what it is. But when you've got a room full of people, you've got a big responsibility for that room.
You haven't got time to go into single people. If you've got 100 people in front of you, you've not got time to go into single people's energies to see what's wrong with them. You haven't got time.
Yeah.
You haven't got time. All you've got, and this is what it comes back to again, of what work has the medium done. The word we haven't used is vulnerability. When you do the work on yourself, you don't mind opening up to be vulnerable. When I work, I just go, I'm love. I'm vulnerable. You know, look, I'm trans. With everything going on with the trans stuff, this is me. I joke about it a little bit, but my vulnerability becomes my strength. But so many mediums go, oh, no, I can't say that. No, you can't talk about that. Oh, what they say, no. They say no. The classic one with mediums is, as they're developing, is what they say a no. What's a word? If someone says no to you when you're working as a medium, it's either you were wrong. Okay, yep. Fuck it. We make mistakes. When I work, I will say, I'm going to make mistakes tonight. I'm working. I push my mediumship. I'm going to make a mistake. Yeah. So it's not being scared of making a mistake. Or it could be the person didn't remember it and they'll go, oh yeah, the other night I was chatting to this lady. I said, your nan's been gone 9 years. Oh no, it's nearly 10. Think you find that's 9? Or you get an arsehole who wants to go, no. But you're right. So we're in that place where with mediums, all we have is our trust, and that trust and the vulnerability goes together hand in hand.
I mean, how many times, Becs, have you had it when you've done a demonstration and you know you've got the person with you, and you know you're with the right person, and they just won't take it, and then they walk up at the end of the night and they say, I'm ever so sorry, I just couldn't take it at that time for whatever reason, because maybe they're embarrassed or they didn't know how to handle it, or it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
And that comes with the job again, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just punch them.
But it comes back to that, like, not worried about what you look like, isn't it, at the end of the day?
And what it is as well, people talk about confidence in work. It comes from the experience of doing it. So if you dem once a month, once every 6 or 8 weeks, and you have a tough dem, so that can haunt you for weeks and weeks, and the next dem comes and you're dreading it. Well, if I have a bit of a tough one, next time I'm working again, the story I want to share with you is a true story about, again, I never remember my reunions. I call these reunions because they're not mine. But if I do, it's to help teach me. So years and years ago, I was doing another fundraiser for a school, and all I got was, I've got your soulmate here. He has a massive heart attack in the supermarket. You're with him as he dies. That's all he gave me. I went, in my head, I'm going like, are you serious? Is that all? But again, I've learned to trust it that they know. Well, I've gone like, I've given it out to 130, 140 people. I'm going like, I'm really sorry, but all I've got is your soulmate. You're with him in the supermarket, in the aisle. He drops dead in front of you with you. No one put their hand up. So, okay, made a mistake. Let's move on. Left it there. No worries. Got to trust it. So, made a mistake. At the end of the night, a lady came up to me and said, Becs, can I have a quiet word, please? I went, of course you can. She said, no, but quietly. Yeah, if you want. So we went over to the corner. She said, just so you know, that she called it a link. That link with that soulmate in the supermarket, that was me. I was with him. He's my soulmate. He died in my arms in the supermarket after a massive heart attack, like you said. I went, okay. She said, but I couldn't put my hand up. I said, don't worry, darling, if you're nervous or upset, don't even worry. She said, no, it's not that. She said, I couldn't put my hand up because I'm here tonight with my sister-in-law. It wasn't my husband.
Oh.
Spirit know their job.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what he wanted to share to get her to go, oh, that's him.
Yeah. And the healing still happened.
Oh, for sure.
In front of people, but it was, the job still got done.
And we have to lose the worry, the ego of what I want to please. Part of this is part of being service. You want to please. I'm a Leo. I want to please. But I have to at some point go, I have to let go of X. Only this last year or two have I let go of worrying what people think about me or my work. That doesn't come with my mediumship. That comes with the work I've done on me.
Yeah.
And let's come back to it again. If the medium doesn't work on themselves, they're going to be full of doubt. They're going to be full of what ifs. They're going to be full. I share with you a story, and it's not a secret. I was at I love the Arthur Finney College. I love the college. I love the people there. I love the staff. I'm not getting involved in the politics. I just love them all. I just truly do. I was there for the open week, and there's a guy, I can't remember his name. He did 2 lectures on the science of mediumship and where it's going. Fascinating. And he shared about how he interviewed something like 24 mediums. I think they all tutors at the college about their process of getting into working zone, and it all had a similar process of preparation. But a lot of them were still doubtful as to whether they were going to get a link, or they were about how it was going to work, or would it all be okay. That for me is not to do with them. That's to do with them.
Completely.
Because if they haven't done the work, well, when I do now, if you send me Becs, get me Nan, I can't do that. But I know I have confidence in my work and my attunement process, my preparation process, that I know once I start, they're there. I might get some bit wrong, but of course it's going to work. They're there. Spirit are constant. So if I'm constant, so if my preparation in me and the work I'm doing on me is constant, and I'm constantly evolving, my work will constantly evolve. The only constant there isn't is when we work is the audience, is the congregation. As long as we're spirit are constant, it's energy, it's consciousness, it's spirit. They're always going to be there.
But also, and it's something actually, it's funny because I wrote a lot of questions down before we spoke, and you're going through them for me without me even looking at the paper, which is what I love about the spirit.
I'm psychic, mate. I'm frigging psychic, mate.
You're psychic, mate. Maybe you should try being a medium. We're talking about the development of everything and how it's going, and we've both been very fortunate to know a certain person, which is Jan. I don't mind mentioning Jan's name, and that she has a very unique perspective, as we both know, in energy and in health, the health of the medium. I think is what kind of started in her journey. But I want to ask you, where do you think the direction of like the spirituality, the mediumship, the healing, the universe, and the science is coming into all of this now?
I think, and this is quoting from my mentor, I want to mention Jan Marshall because I adore her. Years ago, I didn't realise how blessed I was to have a week at the college, and there'd be Eamon Downey, Jan Marshall, and Jackie Wright. They were like my dream team. It was like amazing weeks. But Jan has mentioned it, Eamon's mentioned it, and a friend of mine, Nicole's mentioned it, and we spoke about the role that AI is going to play. Because AI and its intelligence will delve into consciousness, will delve into spirit, I think, in such a way in the coming years. I think for me, you mentioned cycles. I think as spirits that have chosen to come back at this time, but when you want to go down the galactic road, being galactic, whatever road you want to go down to, that makes us different from a lot of the human race, is seeing what's happening. There is a real dichotomy happening of love and those being given. The hate's always been there. It's been under the surface, whether it's racial, whether it's homophobic, whether it's at the moment, it's like you'd have thought the trans community started everything from like World War III down to down to madness. But it's giving people to voice a hatred that feeds its own energy, and the only way you combat hate is with love. I don't mean love them. The Christ conjurer said, "Turn the other cheek." That's a metaphor. That's a metaphor. But what I'm getting, it is the only way. And I think it is, when I talk to people about you've got to live in love, and I don't mean you've got to go around with a bell telling everyone how much you love them, but you have to live in that place of love as a frequency. And you set that as an intention. And I was shown something magical recently about living in the, I always talk about living in the moment. People say, what do you mean by living in the moment? What do you mean? Well, I've got to plan stuff. Yeah, you've got to plan stuff. But what I mean by loving in the moment is if you've got someone you love, and that can be a partner, a soulmate, a child, whatever it might be, even a pet, whatever it might be, living in the moment is saying, what if they weren't here in 10 seconds time? What if they weren't here in 30 seconds time? How would I love them knowing this is the last moment or the last day I've got with them? Not they're going to die, but I'm not saying, but how would you then love someone? How would you support them? What would you do for them? How would you want to make them feel? So you're living that. That's how you. This is what's coming. This is what's happened to us, and this is me now, just doing this for the first time. It is that love. That is living love in the present, and knowing it may not be there tomorrow. It may not be in an hour.
We've heard about this present, and Eckhart Tolle wrote the book of the Power of Now, which I'll be honest, I got completely lost in when I first read it, but it's become more and more obvious to me that everything is the now, because and it all coexists at the same time, and you create from this moment.
Absolutely, if you know, and you've got the most beautiful fiance, if you know, and I don't know if she's going to die or anything, but let's say something she's got to move to the moon, whatever it might be, and you knew you had one day with her. How special would you make it for her in the way she felt loved, in the way she felt supported? And then you've got that today. Now, when you wake up in the morning, have the same thought. Then the next day, have the same, and then live in love that exact way. Then arguments don't fucking happen. Why? Because she might be here tomorrow. Of course she would, but she may not. If you have that mindset saying, what have I got at this moment? I've got this love, and I adore Sophie, your fiance. Anyone watching this, depending on this goes out, they might well be married by then. But it's like, is this making sense?
Yes, completely. And I 100% agree. I think we get so caught up, and especially I think as sensitives, because it seems to be like we feel everything tenfold, and that just opens up a whole can of doing work and energy management, which, like again, you mentioned Jan Marshall. That was life-changing for me, meeting her and what she's taught me so far. But I think when you feel things on such a level, I think everybody gets lost in the day-to-day. I think particularly, and I've seen it with people that when I do circles, like you'll run groups, I've seen it myself, I've seen it in the readings that we give people. It's just so easy to get lost in our outside world. And we both know that it's our inside world that creates our outside world. So
it is, but I also have to say this, and I've seen it happen with some very deep spiritual people. It's easy to lose your humanness if all you think about is being spiritual. All you think about is, I want to be spiritual. I want to feel everyone's energy. No. I think sometimes the energy you think you feel of other people is your own energy. And we say, I'm feeling this. Oh, no, it's there. No, it's not yours. It's your shit you've got to deal with. I really believe that. I'm not saying we don't, as empaths, pick up. Of course, as empaths, we can feel other people. But I think sometimes it happens like we lose sight of, we want to be the galactic being. We want to be spirit on earth. I get all that. But the human emotions is what we're meant to be having to have this human experience.
Exactly.
Here's home now.
Yeah.
For now, this is where the humanness is. And I've got someone I adore so much, and we talk, but I'm talking about making a bit bonkers and crazy, and not crazy, but bonkers and weird, because the humanness is so frigging. I spent a long time getting this body where it is. And I did some other work. I did a deep, what's called happy ceremony with someone I totally trusted that has realigned even more. And I'm in a place of, do you know what? I'm in a place of self-love. I don't mean that in an arrogant sense. It's taking, I can look at my eyes and go, my God, I'm looking really good tonight, because that's my human experience. And that's and what happens, Mark, if you're spending so much time, oh, it's home. Well, you lost sight of what's important here. You're here for this experience.
I'll give you a perfect example, because, and this is another thing I love about Universe, they'll use anything to get you to see what you need to see. But me and Sophie watched a film recently. Sophie put me onto it, called Walter Mitty, and it's about this guy that spends a lot of time daydreaming and not in the present moment. And then at the end of it, it turns out, I mean, I recommend watching the film to everybody, but
yeah, I've seen it.
What he's actually looking for is himself, and if you're not present, you can miss so much, but I think it's difficult sometimes for sensitives to find that grounding.
No, it's the fear. It's what it is, the sense. They're fearful of finding their own inner child. They're fearful of what they might discover. So they project into some of project on the, I want to be more and more spiritual. Yeah, be spiritual. My work spirit. Fucks, it's my job. But when I'm not doing mediumship, I don't, it's like, if someone's like, oh, can you get a meet someone for me now? No, I don't. I'm working this human body. Yesterday I worked at 2 versions of John, and I own John. A lot of times we go, I leave that person. I thought I'd leave the old person. No, my job is to integrate them and honor John. The last version of John I worked with was yesterday, who was the last version of John, the big 18-stone martial art bodybuilder. Well, I have to honor him. I could easily scan and go, yeah, that's very spiritual. Yeah. Oh, we're having, and this is what people say, we're having this beautiful, people say, this is hell. Is this hell? No, it's not. This is a gift. Every breath is a gift. It's what we're going to do with it. But we lose sight of getting in touch with that humanness. And I'm excited because this is new for me.
Yeah.
And I'm going it's like this whole loving in the moment is like, it's new for me and it is so exciting. And I've got, don't you mention my age, but you know my age. And as the years have gone on, it's like, wow, I'm going to enjoy every moment. Not to the expense of my spirituality, not to the expense of me sitting with grandmother ayahuasca, not to the expense of sitting with a beautiful buffo medicine, or with a happy. I did a happy ceremony yesterday, which is an amazing medicine, of course. But when I see people say, oh, yeah, I'm connected more with spirit, they go on a journey and go to the cosmos. Yeah, that's waiting for you when we get out of the body. This car is a gift. So I get very, can you feel my passion?
I can. I don't ever apologize.
This out. I get passionate.
Well, it's funny actually, because I'm going to talk to you about that as well. That like the health and how important is it to be healthy as a medium?
Vital.
Everybody on a day-to-day basis, obviously. I think your energy, it adds an extra strength.
I was the biggest skeptic. You think, it's spirit, that what the way about the body and stuff. But over the years, again, this is Eamon Downey and Janet Marshall, and Eamon spoke about how much it affects our endocrine system and our cortisol. And I truly believe. I mean, a personal story was I'm 6'4", and I've got a very muscular shape. Over the last 2 years, I've worked really hard at getting what I call as close to a female body, a female swimmer as I can. And I was always the big, I don't want to be 6'4", I want to be 5'6", until someone channeled for me and said, it was a galactic, you have to be this size, Becs, to hold the power you work with. Because we are a container. We're an individual container. And again, the more we keep ourselves in good shape, the more work we can do, the more we can do it, and the more the energy flow. If you look at a lot of mediums, they are very unwell. They are overloaded with work. And I've seen some at the college. I've seen someone when I go out work, I'll go and watch mediums. And even the youngsters, they're either emotionally not well, they've got a load of problems they haven't dealt with, or sometimes the older ones are wiped out, they're tired. And people say to me, Becs, how do you do it 4 or 5 times a week? Well, why do you think I do it 4 or 5 times a week? Because I'm down in the gym 4 or 5 times a week. I'm doing yoga 4 or 5 times a week. I don't eat that much shit. Intermittent fast. I'm taking care of my body. I'm on, touch wood, I'm on no medication, apart from obviously HRT. But that comes from a commitment. So as much as my work's a commitment, so is taking care of the body.
Yep.
I think it's vital.
And your energetic health.
Absolutely.
You mentioning people being saturated. I think, again, we talk about the college, we talk about all these people working. And again, I want to talk about Jan Marshall at this point. That's one of the biggest things she's taught me so far. It's about maintaining your energetic health. Release that energy every day. You're not there to take on, because we all want to, listen, I started this journey and I wanted to help everybody. Every time I talk to people, it's the same thing. But you don't help people. You hold space for people to heal themselves.
All you can do. Now, I learned a very powerful lesson from a friend of mine who sadly is not my friend anymore. And I was trying to help her heal over some stuff. And what I learned, you can't heal anyone's pain. You can't even assist them. All you can do is hold space while they do or they don't do the work. And by holding space, I mean, literally, I'm here for you. That's the intention. That's the intention is the energy behind it. And for me, it's like, a lot of people say, I get all people's energy. Well, that's because you're open to it. Just go, don't want it. Maybe I'm this galactic being that is a bit different. But I go, don't want it, don't have it.
And it's all the intention, isn't it? I mean, I've had 12 surgeries, but the last 11 years, I won't get too much into my journey because I want to talk to you about yours, but those surgeries were because I wasn't looking after my nervous system. And I was taking on people's energy because I wasn't aware, or I didn't have the knowledge at that time to understand what was going on. And I've seen, we talk about it in other mediums, but for me, I was trying the Western approach, and I've had spine surgeries, I've had bones cut out of me, and it's just caused more pain along the way. Until I ultimately realised, again, thanks to Jan, that it's my system being overloaded or that I'm not loving myself. That's why I was getting this pain in my chest.
There you go. And I thought I had a lot of surgery done.
We should compare scars. No, don't want to do that. But no. Yeah. But again, it's the like you mentioned the pain earlier on. It's all part of the journey, because that pain has given me strength every time I've had to pick myself back up and push through it. There
you go. Again, that emotional pain, the physical trauma becomes your spiritual strengths. They don't magically happen. You have to do the work. The inner child work, the shadow work, the whatever you want to call it, whether it's counselling, whether it's therapy, whether it's just talking to you, whatever it might be. And that meaning, for me, anyone watching this, anyone developing a medium, forget the mediumship for a while. It's there. It's not going anywhere. How are you doing? I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist, but I know enough of this to say to someone, you've got to get. I know I send people to people. I send them to therapists or coaches who can take them through it. Because if someone wants to be a medium, if they don't heal themselves both physically, we see them burn out physically, they'll burn out emotionally, they'll get bitter, they get angry. You can see it in the world that you and I inhabit. Don't mix a lot of meanings, not because they're not lovely, but there is such a insecurity there. Why? Because it's nothing to do with mediumship. It's to do with themselves of not feeling good, of not wanting, and it's all that inner child stuff again.
Well, that's the pivotal thing, Becs, isn't it? Like, people talk about self-love, but I think it is about self-love, but it's becoming aware that you are all of it, and that you've always been exactly who you were meant to be. So it's a remembrance for me of everything, and remembrance of acceptance.
And remember, you can only remember what you're ready to remember.
Definitely.
And that's a very point, because I've got a medicine journey coming up, and it's going to be exactly. I've done so much work recently. Okay, and it's literally my intention going to the medicine will be, I'm ready to remember what I'm ready to remember, and that might be, I don't know, who knows, but I'm ready to remember what I'm ready. No, I'm ready to remember what I should remember, whatever I just said, whatever came out of my mouth. But yeah,
because we can't handle it. The conscious mind is what, 10% if you're lucky, and the subconscious, and if you just put all that into the conscious mind at once, and I think that's where the patience comes into it, because you can only integrate things at a certain rate, and everybody's different in that rate.
That's the truth, absolutely. I think it's very easy to overcomplicate mediumship. Go, when they teach, go and get the Fab Five. You've got to get this, got to get that. Go and get this, go and get. Hold on. Get out of the frigging way. How do I do that? You quieten down the left side of the brain first. How do you quieten down the body? Well, this is what you do. How do you quieten down your emotions? This is what you do. How do you find that place of love, that power? When they say, "Oh, sit in the power," we go, what do you mean? Well, it's love. If you can't generate love, you can't generate power. And if you don't have some stuff, if you don't do healing work, that your working power can't be there. People say, "Oh, what's the power?" Or build up the power. Well, what is it? It's frigging love. But if you're in a place where you can't manifest it for whatever reason, you're blocking it, how can it then build for you to sit in and then share with an audience? And then the next step is to go from that into the soul and create that space of the soul power, the soul reunion, the place of the memory and the soul that you create. Can't happen, can it?
Well, they haven't got you have to have reference points. And one of the things I'm really peeved about, like you going about these things that get up your nose, for me, it's terminology. Like for many beginning of the many first years, people used to say, sit in the power, and I'm like, and I do this when I hold circles as well, and it's like, you can have 12 people in front of you, Becs, you know as well as I do when you're teaching, and sitting in the power could mean one thing to one person and one thing to another. Like someone just said to me, Mark, find that place inside you where you can feel love and sit in that energy and just be still.
But they've never had love. How can they frigging feel it?
Exactly. You know?
So it shouldn't be sitting in the power. You say, how are you? How are you feeling love? How do you feel love? Because that's the first point. You say, sit in the power. What's that? Well, that's love. Well, my mum never loved me. Oh.
No. But it just makes me laugh at these terminologies. I think that in itself needs addressing. I think it's all cyclical, isn't it? Let's be honest. And it's all transforming, and like nature, as we get reminded with philosophy and at college, and when we do all this work, everything integrates and it's all cyclical, but it all evolves, doesn't it, into something. And I think right now that evolvement is becoming faster, and
yeah, the universe is speeding up. So as the universe speeds up and rises, so's the earth. So it's that heaven and earth thing again. It's that's why people are getting left behind. I don't think they get left behind. I don't talk about the ascension. I'm talking about people who are in that place of hate.
Yes.
And you can feel it.
Well, that's what their experience of life will be. It will be a projection of how their vibration is, what they feel.
Again, it's only their life experience. It's only this. But what we're trying to create is, for me, it's trying to heal the planet, Pachamama, it's trying to heal and find a place where we can, it sounds a bit of a cliche, we can walk on the earth in love.
Well, we have the option. I think that's what's happened with duality. It's you experience life that way or that way, and it's a personal choice, and we have that power each and every day to choose that. And yes, it's not always going to be easy. Yes, there's the work to do and everything else, but we can choose it.
And I think what we lose sight of, because we get sucked into the day-to-day experience, I've said about being humans, is we forget we're on a small little rock going around an insignificant little star in the backwater of 1 billion galaxies. We're held in place by the moon, which could be a spaceship, whoever holds it shouldn't even be there. We've got Jupiter that absorbs a lot of the meteors. We've got an oasis of green, of blue. Good. Doesn't exist anywhere else. One of the rarest things in the galaxy, we have in abundance. We have a beautiful sunrise. And what do we want to do? We want to blow the fucking thing up. What is wrong with humanity? That's the big. We're on this beautiful gift of a planet in the middle of nowhere, and people lose sight of it as the gift.
But I think also that's community. Like if you go back in time, and I say this to Sophie and other people that we talk about that we know, and it's a common conversation. Back in the time, life was stiller, and we had more time to be together as families, to be together as communities, and I think that's what we're lacking. Like social media, you only got to go and walk into a city or a town. The airport fascinates me. People walk around like glued to the phone. They walk into things. Yeah, it's like we're becoming detached from ourselves. We have the power to support, to educate, to encourage, to pass wisdom on to each other and to help each other. But we're not. We're going the opposite way.
We're being encouraged to punch down and down while the few at the top didn't. And I'm not involved in politics. I've no interest.
Yeah.
but that's what's happening. So let's create division there. I mean, it's the trans stuff. It's the trans now. It's the gay people before, black people before that, the Jewish people before that, the Dutch in the 17th century. It's always been divided. It's divide and conquer. I use my example. Do you think really people care if someone's trans? They don't really care. They're more worried about, can they pay their bills? Are you a nice person? That's what people really care about. Are you nice? Are you being, as Doctor Who would say, just be kind. Just be kind.
Be authentic. Be your authentic self. Like, don't be afraid to be, because that's a lot of the problem, isn't it? We don't feel safe to be. A lot of us don't feel safe to be our authentic self. And that's where the work comes in, isn't it? And the insecurity and all of it. And that's a shame to be in a world like that, because we all have such beauty within us.
And it's the other thing, as mediums, is expressing love, because they may not be there tomorrow. In fact, there'll be someone who you love may not be there tomorrow. How many times have we had? Oh, you didn't get a chance to say goodbye. How many times did I didn't tell them they did enough, because they carried that for 20 years. They didn't do enough. Tell some, I know it's been about a lot. Tell someone you love them before it's too frigging late. Show them you love them. Again, I said this earlier on in our chat, was if you've got someone you love, treat it as if it's the last moment you've got with them. Every moment. What would you do for them? What would you share with them? What would you look? Because that's being in the moment.
I think so. What did you say to me recently about we don't complete each other?
Oh, my favourite saying. I'll give it to you. Yeah. This is a saying I have for someone very special, and I shared it with I shared it with a few people. Okay, you don't complete me. You can't complete me, but my day's complete when I've seen your smile.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, you can say it to something else. I said to my friend recently, I said, same thing. I just changed it. I said, you don't complete me, you can't complete me, but my day is complete when I've heard your voice.
Time, the biggest gift. Time and presence.
Oh, for sure, man. You know it. It's and it is. We've all got the same amount of time, and there's this this lifetime you've got it in the moment, and it's only what I'm finding recently. And my journey is that why if you had that mindset, would you want to waste 3 hours in an argument and a night sulking, a night not talking? If you've got a love with someone, and it might be family or a lover or someone, if you've got that love, it's such a precious frigging gift. If we're going to be together for life, you've wasted today. If you view today, well, I'm going to love you. You might go to the moon tomorrow. I'm talking about someone dying or leaving you. Is if you can go, I'm going to love you today the way I would always want to love you if I had this last day with you. Because one day it will be. Yeah. So if you've had a whole lifetime with someone, living it's going to be the last day. When the last day comes, but you've given love that complete commitment. But you can't actually love yourself, but you have to love yourself as much. That's another rabbit hole to go down.
Of course, yeah.
As you're loving yourself, you're also loving yourself in the present moment as well. So it just
Well, it's something I'm a big focus on now, because obviously I went into this journey thinking that like wanted to be a medium and teach, and like we do, be of service. And I've noticed now, and of course I like to be of service as a medium, and to offer closure or healing in that way. But I'm really drawn to at the minute is life, and it's about living life and what's holding you back in this life, and what are the cycles that you've picked up from your parents, or the 7 years that you first were born, or your grandparents. What's holding you back from being yourself, so you can love yourself, and then you can create the life or experience the life that may already be there to experience anyway, if you want to get into multi-dimensionality.
Yeah.
In a fun way, and in a loving way, and in a wonderful, uplifting way, instead of feeling like you're dragging through treacle.
That's exactly it.
So that's when I focus. I know I really appreciate your time, Bex, and I love speaking with you, and I could sit here all day talking to you. 2 more questions I have for you, though.
I chat all the time. Go on.
What's next for Bex?
Oh, what a good question. Well, I'm off to Los Angeles and Hollywood on Monday.
Lovely.
I've got 2 weeks. I was out there last year, and I got invited out there to do a couple of fundraisers, which was lovely. So it was just to a vacation. I'm out there again, just meeting someone. I think if something opens up in LA, great. Spirit don't care where you work. Back in January, on a Tuesday night, I'm in Hollywood doing a little fundraiser. On Sunday, I'm back in Essex in Basildon. I love both. Spirit don't care. You know, I'm very blessed that I find my happy place 4 or 5 nights a week when I'm doing what I love doing. And teaching has just started to take a bigger step. And I've always been organic with the teaching. And I've always done little workshops, but this year I'm running an 8-week course, well, 8 Saturday course during the year for intermediates. Loving that. I've been asked by someone to be their mentor, which I thought, okay, you've asked, I'll open the door. So, you know, but my passion is my mediumship, and I'm blessed. You know, I'm doing it so much. So the next step is just I've got my second book coming out called Hugs from Heaven. So that's my second book. I've got a third book I'm starting. When this one comes out, I've got a third book I'm going to start, and they've been nice because it's not about me. A little bit about me, about each situation. One was about suicide and surviving spirit, and this one is what I call Hugs from Heaven, and the next one's going to be something more about healing. So I'm just, you know, Mark, I'm just really lucky. You know, if LA opens up a little bit, great. You know, if it doesn't, great. You know, I'm very, very. I think with our work, it's not a question that you don't want direction with it. Of course we do. But I spent a long while finding it's where it is now. And I get up in front of people, and that's when I love. So where's it going? Yeah, if LA opens up, I get to go there 2 or 3 times a year. Fabulous. If it doesn't, but I think it will. But it's like, even then, what does it open up? You know, what does it open up to? It just opens up to what I do already, which is mediumship.
Yeah. You're getting to do,
you know, it's like, what's that saying? More things change, the more things stay the same, you know? So it's...
Yeah. To be able to get up and do what you do every day, Bex, and you've worked hard for that, so that we have to acknowledge that. But it's something I aspire to myself, and that would be a wonderful thing to be able to do that every day.
Yeah,
you know, I think it's a calling. Personally, I think it's a soul calling.
I think it's people talk about soul contracts, and I go, I have a thing with soul contracts because, like, well, what do you sign? There's no pens on the other side, so maybe contract's the wrong word. I don't know, but it's like. For me, I know I've people have chat enough for me and explain where I am, who I am, and I get it. I get what I've come here for. I get it. You know, it's but it is that balance, and I'm finding it now for the first time. I'm loving it because it's literally like now I'm chatting to you. I've got a day I'm going down the gym from here. It's great. So I've got down the gym. I'm meeting a friend of mine, a guy I know. It was actually my accountant, my mate, but we're going to have an early dinner. Great. How lucky is that? You know, it's to find that balance.
Which is important, as you said, I think, because if you're switched on all the time, which is another thing we know it can be done, it's going to end in disaster. You can't be on full time.
You can't walk through the supermarket and go, I've got you. So one, you know, so you go to a cashier, I've got you, Nan. One, it's unprofessional. Two, it will drain your system.
Yeah.
We're not geared up for that. Remember, we are physical beings. We are galactic beings, we're universal beings, we're whatever you want to call us, we are having an experience in a beautiful, whoever's watching this, your body's beautiful. We are trillions of cells all trying to do the best for us every second of every day on this journey. And, you know, for me, to walk in the supermarket and then go to someone I was asked about something about a project, and they said, oh yes, would you walk around doing readings in the street? I went, absolutely not in a million years. Oh, it's popular. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what it is. Anathema to it. For me, it's totally unprofessional. I don't care how many views you get. I don't care what happens. It's totally irresponsible. To walk up to a strange person in the street and go, can I give you a reading?
If they're not ready for it.
It's just irresponsible on the part of the medium.
It's unethical, pretty much.
I mean, I'm finding sometimes in my nights, occasionally, let's say there's an audience, I noticed 2 or 3 people might have gone at the interval. I'm not saying it personally. It was whatever they think their reasons for going. It was too much. The energy was too much. They weren't ready for the healing.
Yeah.
So I can't. You know, and that's what it is. You know, Yeah.
Right, last question.
Shoot.
What would you tell your younger self now? It's a question that Sophie got asked recently, and I like it, so I'm going to use it.
I would tell my younger self, look at me now. I love you. Come join me. Come join me. Come. And that's what. And this is what my experience. Yeah, I used to say you're loved, but someone said to me, actually, yes, you're saying you've got to say I love you. So I'd say to my younger self, I love you. Look how far you've come. And it's all, you know, you can say it's all okay, but look, come join. You're not even saying it's going to be okay. It's saying, come join me now.
That's powerful. The less is more. And that is such a powerful statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be able to say that to yourself, it says a lot.
Yeah, to say to any version. Remember, we all carried a version of ourselves. When, you know, and to say to any version of myself, look, I love you. Look how far you've come. Come and join me. Look at us now.
Thank you, Becs.
Absolutely. Mark, it's been such a joy.
Me too. I mean, I could talk to you for hours, but I know you've got other things to do. So I'm
You're
very
welcome.
grateful for your time and for coming on today. And
You're so welcome.
Okay.
Thanks for having us, Mark.
Anytime, mate. And I look forward to seeing you again soon and at the wedding.
Yes, and give my love to Sophie and I'll see you at the wedding.
I will do. You take care and have a wonderful day.
Right. Thanks, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.